Today's video is on how to become a paid content creator in 2024. So if you don't want to become a content creator, this video is not for you. Just move along. Hey Molly Babe gang, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Mihlali Nobavu, aka Molly Babe, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tuning back in and welcome. So I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase. Today's video is on how to become a paid content creator in 2024. So if you don't want to become a content creator, this video is not for you. Just move along. I wrote down a list of things I want to say because I literally do not want to miss anything. First of all, we're going to speak about your content. And with regards to your content, I want us to speak about a niche. So what is a niche? A niche is basically something that you're going to be focusing on. So examples of niches can be fashion, lifestyle, travel, beauty. My niches personally are fashion, lifestyle, and beauty. And I would advise, if you're just starting out, like if you're a very small creator, don't box yourself into a certain niche. Explore, look at different niches. That way you're going to figure out what's for you and what's not for you, and that's how you find your audience. Like, that's how you find what's really for you. When I was starting out, I was literally all over the place. I didn't know what niche to go into. I was posting a lot of lifestyle content, but then over time I realized that it would be more beneficial to me to post fashion content, because I realized that creators who are getting brand collaborations are mostly fashion content creators. Secondly, when it comes to content, you know how people always say that you must choose quality over quantity? This is true, but if you're starting out, then it's best to focus on quantity, because you want to get as much content out there as possible. It doesn't help that you spend days editing a video to make sure it's perfect, because you're going to be posting less and less, like less people are going to see you. So if you're a small content creator, it's best to focus on quantity rather than quality. But this is not to say that you should post trash videos. Obviously, like, your content should be somewhat good, but just make sure that you're posting a lot of content, like you're getting your content out there, because that's how people are going to notice you, that's how your audience is going to find you, and that's how brands are going to find you as well. Thirdly, now I know people are busy, like you may be a student, or maybe you're working, or you have a side hustle, I don't know, but we are living very busy lives, and content creation takes a lot out of you physically. It's tiring, it's draining. So that's why you need to have what we call a content day. Basically, you pick a day out of the week where you shoot a batch of content, so that you can spend maybe 2 days editing and then have like a week's worth of content, or 2 weeks worth of content to post. Like, when I have my content days, I usually shoot for like a day, and then afterwards I have like two and a half weeks worth of content. It's a very sustainable way of creating content, and it saves you time and money, because imagine if you're just Ubering to a certain place to take your content for the next 2 weeks, you're going to be saving money, as opposed to you Ubering maybe 3 or 4 times. So the fourth thing on my list with regards to content is investing in your content. So basically getting equipment. Now, if you're still new to this and you don't necessarily have the money to invest in a tripod or a mic or a ring light, you can always work with like natural lighting, so sunlight. But if you manage to save up a few coins, then you can definitely get yourself like an entry-level tripod. I know you can get a tripod at any electric stores starting from 200, I think, but it also depends of where you go. So just go to stores that have cheaper alternatives. But if you're ready to take the big leap and get, proper equipment, then Takealot would probably be the best place to go. My tripod is from Incredible Connection, I think. Yeah, but I didn't buy it myself. Somebody who loves me bought it for me. So you definitely need to invest in your content. Whatever you need in order to make your content great and to make your content stand out, definitely save up and invest in that, because it's gonna pay off in the long run. Now we move on to posting time. So when should you post? How often should you post? Let's get into it. I'm actually gonna add like a little picture somewhere on the screen just to show you guys exactly what times I post on each social media platform. So TikTok and Instagram. So starting with TikTok, it's good to post every single day. Especially if you're a small upcoming content creator, post every single day. Get your content out there, because if you're posting every single day, then the algorithm is going to favor you eventually, and you might even have a viral video. So the more you post, the better your chances are of reaching a bigger audience, reaching your target audience, and getting a viral video. So with regards to Instagram, it's also good to post every single day, or at least post a reel every single day, because I feel like reels are what's best to grow on Instagram right now. So basically on both platforms, Instagram and TikTok, it is important to be as consistent as you can. Another thing to take note of is the hashtags that you are using, because your hashtags are the difference between your video getting seen by your target audience or by some random people who don't really give a damn about fashion or lifestyle or beauty. So it's important to use the right hashtags. I'm actually gonna put like a picture on the screen just to show you guys what specific hashtags I use for my lifestyle content and my fashion content that have helped me get my videos to a larger audience. It's important to use relevant hashtags because it also helps these apps, Instagram and TikTok, it helps them classify your content, and therefore those apps are able to push your content out to people who would actually be interested in that content. Now we move on to brand collaborations. I'll always hear people saying there's no point in waiting for brands to reach out, you have to reach out yourself. But then very few people go into detail about how exactly to reach out, what to say, so I'm just gonna dive into that real quickly. So with regards to how you reach out, it's always important to keep in mind that if you come with the right approach, your chances of getting a response are going to be much higher. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I say to brands to get a response out of them, and which brands specifically that I reached to that eventually got back to me. But what's important to note, if you're reaching out to a brand, you should always state who you are, what kind of content you post, so what are your niches, and flatter the brand. Like, say something you like about them. Why are you reaching out to them? Do you love their clothes? Do you love the brand? Like, what do you love about the brand? Tell them. And then eventually you're going to tell them that you want to work with them, you want to collaborate with them, you've been wearing their clothes for quite some time, or you've been following their socials for quite some time, and you are really interested in working with the brand because you love it so much. It's going to get you a good response from the brand. Sometimes they're not going to respond, but you should not get discouraged, because maybe a brand might mize you once or twice, then they respond the third time. So there's no shame in trying to shoot your shot, and there's no shame in consistently reaching out, because that also shows a brand that you are dedicated, and that you really want this. And don't only reach out to the brands that you want to work with as per se, like look at upcoming brands as well. Try to diversify. Don't just reach out to the big clothing brands, because also you have to keep in mind that they are probably getting a lot of DMs a day, from people with more followers. Not to say that if you have a small number of followers you should get discouraged, but it's always good to reach out to multiple brands, whether they're a big company or a small company. Now we move on to payment. So how do you get paid as a content creator? Let's say you reach out to a brand and they get back to you, they're interested to work with you, but then they ask you, are you willing to take on a trade exchange? And you say no because you want money right away. That is not a good move, guys. It's always good to be open to the idea of a trade exchange, because maybe a brand might offer a trade exchange now, and then in the future they might pay you. Because I know a brand that reached out to me and they offered me a trade exchange. It was actually Edgar's. They offered me a trade exchange for fashion content, and I took it. And then the next time they reached out to me for a campaign, which was literally a month later, they asked for my rates and everything, and they started paying me. So it's good to take on a trade exchange at least the first time you work with a brand, and then thereafter you can insist on payment, because at the end of the day, it is your hard work. You know, you have invested a lot in your content, a lot of money, a lot of time and effort. So it is not selfish of you to expect payment, but don't always come with the mentality that you want to get paid right away. So with regards to how much you should charge, it is important to note that you should not undercharge brands, but don't overcharge brands as well, because you might overcharge a brand and they might get disinterested, because there's so many content creators out there. The market is saturated. They can just go to the next content creator, somebody who probably has more followers and charges way less. You know, so don't overcharge, but don't undercharge as well. Do your research, speak to people, find out how much people are charging for, you know, certain posts, and then maybe try work out your rate from there onwards. When I was starting out, I was charging like 1.5 a post. I think I was charging 1.5 a post, and yeah, I was charging 1.5 for a reel actually, and then I was charging 1k for an Instagram post when I was starting out. And I think it's all right, you know, because I was only just starting out. But if you have someone who's been creating content, you have a large audience, then you definitely need to do research to make sure that brands are not underpaying you, because there are brands that take chances, you know, because people don't talk to each other in this field. Like, people don't really plug each other, you know. You might hear that a certain content creator is getting paid a certain amount of money, and maybe you have more followers than that person, and then you realize that you've been undercharging. But then, since nobody is talking, since nobody is like helping their fellow influencers out, you end up losing a lot of money. It's always good to do extensive research to make sure that you are charging brands the right amount of money and getting good money for your work, for your hard work. So I just want to end this video off with a few tips, and the first tip I have is to be authentic. Be yourself. You know, people love it when you show your personality on video. That's personally something that I'm still working on, but it's always good to show people who you are, because people fall in love with who you are, you know. And if someone relates to you, they relate to your personality, then you'll be more likable to that person, you know. That person's going to be more interested in what clothes you have to wear, you know, where you're going. They're just going to be interested in you and in your life in general. So it's always good to show your personality on camera. Another tip is to not care so much about what people have to say. If you feel embarrassed by the fact that you're trying to become a content creator and you think people are going to laugh at you or think you're cringe, then you need to get rid of those thoughts, because you need to keep in mind why you are doing this. Maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's something you love, or maybe you want to make money from it in the future. Regardless of the reason, you should not be scared. Like, you should not care what anybody else has to say. And it might feel awkward taking out your camera and your phone in public, but I promise you, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. Because I used to cringe at the thought of taking content in public, but now I just don't care. Like, I don't give a damn. I absolutely have no shame. So the more you do it, the easier it gets. The last tip is to not compare your content creation journey to anybody. Move at your own pace. Understand that you are your own person, and set goals for yourself that you know that you can achieve. Don't feel discouraged because people's content creation journeys are taking off much faster than yours. Just stay hopeful that someday you are going to make it. That's it for today's video, guys. If you loved this video and if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section. Bye.